The police commissioner of Boston. You said you doubled down on not helping the law enforcement officers of ICE. I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
It's a promise made, promise kept. A month after that promise, Border Czar Tom Homan announced a multi-agency operation in Boston that arrested nearly 400 illegal immigrants, a majority of them criminal migrants. This, as a local news investigation revealed that multiple illegals were rounded up by ICE, were charged with, and you just look at it, you got 3 counts of child rape. You got aggravated child rape of a victim under the age of 9. Then you look right here, assault to rape, and a mass armed robbery. This person was released on 0 bail. Then you got 2 illegal aliens charged with child rape. They released $500 each. And then finally, 2 illegal aliens charged with cocaine and fentanyl trafficking released on $500 and $4,000 when it comes to the bill. Let's bring in the big man himself, Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, tell me exactly what's happening on the ground. How are you able to accomplish this?
Well, look, we're keeping President Trump's promise. President Trump has promised we're going to secure the border, which we've done to a large extent. We're still working on it, but we're at 96% decline on the border. And he promised we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, illegal aliens in this country, and that's what we're doing.
So, Tom,
Boston,
yeah.
I said at CPAC, they're a sanctuary state, and we're going to come, and despite their sanctuary status, we're going to bring agents there, and we're going to take these worst of the worst off the streets.
So, Tom, just to get into some of the specifics here, so you got these folks that had already been charged with this. What your agents were asking, keep these guys behind bars, and we'll go pick them up. But many of these criminals got charged, and they were released back on the street, right?
You're absolutely right. In one case, I looked at, Lawrence, one case, it was a child rape. He was released 2 years ago without honoring our detainer. It took us 2 years to find this person. So how many children did he attack in the last 2 years? All we're asking for is let our agents in the jail where you lock somebody up and let us arrest them there when you're done with them rather than release them back in the public and making a public safety issue out of it.
Tom, now that you have these guys in custody, where are they going?
They're going to be deported. They're in detention now, and we'll deport each and every one of them. We're going to stand by the president's promise to decrease illegal alien crime in this country. We're not going to rest till every illegal alien public safety threat, every illegal alien national security threat is eradicated from this country. That is what we're doing. We're going to get it done.
This is what the governor of Massachusetts had to say. Governor Healey said this: Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partner with the federal agencies and federal law enforcement to keep people safe. We are ranked as one of the safest states in the country. So, Tom, is it a sanctuary state or not?
Yeah, it is, and we just proved them wrong. The mayor Wu in Boston said I was lying under oath, that I was lying about her city. Well, we went to that city. We went to the surrounding counties around that city, and you look what we did in 5 days. We got a lot of work to do. We're not done. We're going back. And I said we're going to keep going back until every illegal alien public safety threat's removed, not from Massachusetts, from the country. We're going to make this country safer. President Trump made a promise, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise.
Tom, there's been some pushback about the flights going overseas. Will the flights continue? Will these people go back?
Well, the Alien Enemies Act, we're going to let that play out in court, and I'm not an attorney, but DOJ's taking that out in court. But in the meantime, I've said, we're not going to stop arresting Venezuelan TDA members in this country. And if we can't remove them through Title 8, then we're going to detain them until this case is over. But we're going to arrest them. We're going to take them off the streets. We're going to keep our promise. TDA has been verified as terrorist organizations. Them and MS-13. They're designated terrorist organizations. Those 2 flights carry terrorists out of this country. We're not going to apologize for it. We think we did the right thing. We followed the Aliens Enemies Act. The president simply invoked the authorities he has in a statute of federal law, and that's what we did. This administration is following the law. We're using the law to make this country safer, unlike the last administration, who not only ignored the law, Lawrence, they violated the law with misuse of parole. We're making this country safe again, one illegal alien at a time. We're going to keep doing it.
Tom, I know you've been doing this job over 30 years amongst Democrats and Republican presidents. There was a judge that talked about the treatment, and they said something that I think you're going to take great umbrage with. This is what the judge said. Watch.
The point here was that There were plane loads of people. I mean, it's a class action. There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
Is that true, Tom?
No, we followed every procedure within the Aliens Enemy Act. Maybe she needs to read that act. We did the right thing. I'm not aware of every single case, but I've been told by highest levels in ICE that every one of those Venezuelans on that plane was TDA based on hours of investigations, anywhere from criminal investigations to wiretaps to witnesses' statement. They put a lot of effort in this, and I've been guaranteed that every one of those Venezuelans will member TDA. And again, they're a designated terrorist organization, and I'm sick of these radical judges. Why don't they talk to Laken Riley's family? What due process does she have? Talk to the other young women that were raped and murdered in this country by TDA members. Talk to the family of the young lady that was burned alive on a subway. We did the right thing. We're keeping President Trump's promise. We're going to arrest every one of these people. And again, we're not going to arrest every one of them that's out of this country. This is what the President Trump promised American people. We're going to do this every day, 24/7 across this country without apology. We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. Tom, I only got a few seconds left, but before I go, I just want you to make it clear to our audience why you guys don't release all the information that you gathered through intelligence. You put the law enforcement as well as the sources at risk when you release that, right?
You're exactly right. We got to protect our confidential sources. We also have to protect our law enforcement methods. We can't tell everybody how we do this because it's law enforcement sensitive information. We need the element of surprise. We need to find the most dangerous people in the world that are walking the streets of the United States. There are a lot of law enforcement sensitive methods we use. We got to protect our sources. We got to protect the confidential informants that have given up statements to us. So this is what we do. We do it well, and we're going to keep doing it, Lawrence.
Yeah, it's an entire criminal enterprise that's paying for these guys to get out. When you start talking, then the criminal knows what you're going to do, and people die as a result of that. You guys are doing a great job. Tom, thanks so much for joining the program. All right, now to this. The Trump administration is invoking the state secrets privilege as it refuses to give a judge more information on the migrant deportation flights to El Salvador.
Griff Jenkins is live in Washington with more.
Good morning, guys. And late yesterday, here's what happened. Attorney General Pam Bondi signed a document formally announcing the administration is invoking the state secrets privilege to prevent the government from having to disclose national security information in open court after declarations from Secretary of State Rubio and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem were made to Bondi. But District Judge James Boasberg wants answers about these flights to El Salvador after rejecting a request to lift a temporary block on those deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. He wrote this: because the named plaintiffs dispute that they are members of Tren de Aragua, they may not be deported until a court has been able to decide the merits of their challenge. Now, at issue is whether Judge Boasberg overstepped his authority when ordering the government to return more than 250 suspected TDA gang members back to the U.S., even as military planes carrying those migrants were already outside U.S. airspace. So now this 3-judge D.C. Appeals Court panel will make that determination, and they appeared split on whether the flights should continue, with Obama-appointed Judge Patricia Millett blasting the use of the wartime authority.
The point here was that there were plane loads of people. I mean, it's a class action. There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
But Judge Justin Walker, a Trump appointee, seemed more empathetic to the DOJ's arguments in his questioning, while that third judge, appointed by President George H.W. Bush, Karen Henderson, asked no questions. So we really aren't sure, guys, where she'll come down. They can rule any time, and they could rule narrowly or more broadly. We just have to wait and find out. And don't forget, the losing side could also try and fast-track this to the Supreme Court. Guys?
Right.
They certainly will.
Yeah, it's almost a given, whoever loses.
Yeah.
Although, you know, Griff, is it true that they've already picked the Supreme Court justice that would hear it? And it's Elena Kagan?
We do not know that. There's some speculation. And look, we also don't know, Brian, really whether we could get a one-sentence order today or whether or not we will get in coming days a much broader ruling that will instruct perhaps future judges hearing cases like this in these circumstances. So a lot of unknowns right now.
Yeah, could be broad, could be narrow. Griff, thank you. You know, I must say, Judge Mallet, I don't think we've expressed an appropriate level of rage for what she said. Yes, you are entitled to a hearing unless it's the Alien Enemies Act, where it's special wartime powers that mean the alien does not get a hearing. But Nazis got better treatment, okay?
That was despicable.
Homan said Laken Riley didn't get due process. Rachel Morin, a mother of 4, did not get a modicum of due process when she was slaughtered out for a run. Nor did Nungari, that little girl who went to a convenience store. So when the judge talks about Nazis and TDA, I can tell you the average American hears the young girls and mothers who have lost their lives who didn't get any due process.
Well, right. And to that point, Kaylee, they're still in the country right now. I take you to this operation that Tom Homan just did in Boston. Just look at the wall right here. You got 3 counts of aggravated rape against a child right here, a victim under 9, assault rape, a mass armed robbery, child rape again. By the way, released on bail for $500. Then you got cocaine and fentanyl trafficking across the country. This is just one city in the country that has a mayor that wants to defend them. The governor claims that it's not a sanctuary city. A sanctuary state. But obviously, these people found a sanctuary there.
Yep.
Right.
And
one of the things that the administration has done is they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we get the people out of the country as quickly as possible? And we had heard that from Tom Homan from the get-go, even before he assumed the position. And so they're using this Enemies and Aliens Act from the 1700s to try to do it. They knew, from my sources in the administration, they knew it was going to get adjudicated. It was going to go through the courts. They just want finality. They want the American judicial system to say, okay, you can do it this way or you can do it that way. And then they're going to do it that way, whatever it is, in a big way.
So yesterday, over the weekend, they just wanted to stress how Donald Trump is threatening to ignore the courts, which he has never done.
Not true.
Every single Sunday show focused on that, except for Shannon's. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, in action big time in Boston. He announced the arrest of 370 in the surrounding areas. He said on X that he traveled to Boston on Tuesday, as promised, kicking off a 5-day operation. It was pointed out by the governor. Pleased to work with ICE. We're not a sanctuary state. We have sanctuary cities in our state. Here's Tom Homan.
One case, there was a child rape. He was released 2 years ago without honoring our detainer. It took us 2 years to find this person. So how many children did he attack in the last 2 years? All we're asking for is to let our agents in the jail where you lock somebody up. And let us arrest them there when you're done with them, rather than release them back in the public and making a public safety issue out of it. Mary Wu in Boston said I was lying under oath, that I was lying about her city. Well, we went to that city. We went to the surrounding counties around that city. And you look what we did in 5 days. We got a lot of work to do. We're not done. We're going back. And I said we're going to keep going back until every illegal alien public safety threat's removed, not from Massachusetts, from the country. We're going to make this country safer. President Trump made a promise, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise.
You know, and one of the things that ICE and Tom Homan is doing is the fact that when they sweep up 370 criminals, alien criminals, and the people of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts say, why exactly doesn't our state or why doesn't our city cooperate with ICE to get these people off the streets? Why don't they do that? The people, you know, they don't have a good answer.
Yeah, you know, Tom Homan, if you look at the data Bill Maloogian put out, I just did some like rough calculator math of the 33,000 that they've apprehended illegal immigrants. And you look at those who have pending criminal charges or are convicted of crimes, 73.4% of people Tom Homan has wrapped up around the country have pending criminal charges or criminal convictions.
And if you notice
that is pretty good.
If you notice now, the administration with that bus, you didn't see the names of them. It's because there's too much coordination been going on. You release the names, you get all the information out there, the criminals are on to you. So now the administration, they tried to be transparent, but leaks were happening all over the place, and they're coordinating with the criminals. So now they're holding it. and today wrap up everybody, and then maybe we'll start hearing some names.
Right.
I just want our community to be safe.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
just said President Trump, the Massachusetts State Police were brought to the White House and recognized by Trump and Attorney General Bondi for their partnership. So Governor Maura Healey trying to go out of her way to say, don't think we're all like Boston, which is interesting because she's a Democrat.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.